everyone. Welcome to our live extract making workshop number. I don't even know. It's a great many.
Well, it's the second one from our new vanilla kitchen.
It's the second one from our vanilla kitchen, our vanilla room, our vanilla kitchen. That's what we're going to call it. So we're still kind of getting the lay of the land down here, but our second one from the vanilla kitchen. I'll tell you what is interesting. So this one, we're going to be going through 3 extracts, right? We've got 2 brand new ones from our book that we're going to be starting. And then we've got 1 change out. So it's the 3 today. So even with my talking all the time, we ought to get through this one in like under an hour. Do you think that's possible? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
You look doubtful.
Are you going to be okay with no taste testing?
Yes, we'll be okay with no taste testing. That's a fair question. But here's what's interesting is we've got one more workshop that we'll be sending out an invite for the last Wednesday in April, or the Wednesday right after Easter Sunday. We'll be doing a workshop with hazelnuts and huckleberries. And then after that, there's just one more. Brand new one that we're starting. And so by May, we will have started every single one of the extracts and recipes in our book, which is just crazy, right? We're getting through them. If you go to our website now on VanillaPura.com and you go to the recipes section, you'll see there's another index that has the videos for all of the recipes just in our book for the art of extract making. So you can go there and you can select each one of the recipes. And then we've put them all together because we'll do like 3 or 4 or sometimes 6 recipes in a show. We've spliced them all up. So if you just want to learn how to make orange cacao, you can click on that and you can see all the videos and all the change outs from just that one recipe all in one place. So it's super easy to find. So we will start our final extract in May, and then we'll be like a year or so away from finishing. So all we'll be doing after that is checking up on the recipes in our book. But then we have a whole bunch of other things that we're excited to get started on. So the workshops will continue, and we'll be moving on to some new things that we kind of are excited to share. But I digress just a little bit. So a big welcome to all of our Club V Pura members. A big welcome to anyone joining us for the first time from Eventbrite, that's where we kind of organize all these events. We're super glad to have you. Members of our Facebook group. It's just so much fun to sit down with you and have like an extract moment together. We've been doing this for years now. We just love it, right?
Yeah.
So, and of course, at the end of this workshop, like every workshop, we're giving away a $25 gift card to one of you for joining us. So thanks for spending some time. And we always want to say thanks by, getting some free vanilla out there and having some fun. And we also have a fun, surprise thing over on the side that I can't wait to show you at the end of the show, because some people are just going to love it, as I liked it. Anyway, so let's dive in. So on our itinerary today, we're going to be doing our Indonesian dark rum extract. And then we will be doing our almond chocolate coconut extract. And then we'll be changing out our grapefruit. Correct?
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
No, just 3 things today.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's dive into extract number 1, our Indonesian dark rum vanilla extract from the art of extract making. We love this one for its simplicity, but also because it tees up a really fun discussion about rums.
Yes.
And spirits.
It's on page 82 if you're following along. It's really quite simple. It's got 1 type of bean. It's got our Indonesian papa Indonesian bean. That's a very strong vanilla flavor with these undertones of maybe cacao and some like mocha in there. It's a wonderful bean, especially with this dark rum.
And that's the idea. So we talk about this all the time through all of our workshops. Our goal with our book was to teach principles of extract making, and then allow everyone to get creative and create their own thing. We're just your starting point. And the principle that we're talking about here is, again, bean and pairing, but then also getting into why were we so specific about Zacapa rum in the book? Because we don't do that normally. No. We're very broad. We're kind of agnostic, and we still are. This would be a great extract with any kind of rum, but we went specific to talk about rums and higher end spirits, right?
Yes, and by no means do you have to buy a high-end spirit for extracts. That is not at all the message that we're sending out here.
No, not at all.
But we wanted to present a higher-end rum that we really like, that might be fun to, if you also like rum or someone who does. I like to gift the bottle, the beans, and the spirit all together. And then, they can have a little bit of the rum. And then also it can go into the extract. So it's like two gifts in one. And that's why we're presenting it this way. If you have a spirit at home that you already like and it's in your cupboard, you can use it for extract. But by no means do you have to go buy this Zacapa rum just for extracting.
No, the other, well said. And I would only add just a couple of things to it. The other, as it relates to like spirits and high-end spirits, one, they can, as you kind of mentioned, they can be sentimental. So you might know someone that like loves a bourbon, a specific bourbon, or loves a rum. This week in our Facebook group, someone posted a 12-year-old rye Weller whiskey that they were going to use to make their extracts for one of our blends, I think it was. And I was reading all the comments and everyone's like, no, like sip it.
Yeah.
Like that is a super expensive whiskey. Like those rye whiskeys, they're super sweet and they're delicious, but it's really expensive. So why would they want to do that? Lots of times it's sentimental reasons. You're making an extract for like your mom, or more often you see it for like your dad. And your dad was like a Woodford Reserve guy for his whole life. So you make an extract with dad's Woodford Reserve, which maybe it's a little more expensive, or maybe it's a Weller, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to everyone else. But as you know, extract making is sometimes so much more than just the extract. It's the memory, it's the moment. It's sort of that time to remember. We do the Memorial Monday post where everybody posts who they're making an extract for. That's one of the reasons. Reason number two is when you get into these higher end spirits, they have cool bottles, like you said.
Well, that is part of it. I mean, it's got this cool little woven band at the bottom, and they could do their extract in here when they have just the right amount left. First, they snack on the part they're supposed to take out, and then however many beans they put in here, and you let them know, if it's 1 ounce, you need 8 ounces, or up and further than that. But I mean, the bottle is cool. How cool would it be to just gift the bottle and the beans, and then you don't have to even buy another bottle. It's such a cool bottle.
Yeah, when the spirits get a little more expensive, the spirit makers go a little more creative on some of the bottles. I saw a scotch that was being made, and around the distillery in Scotland, there was this old stone fence that you can kind of picture, like, the green hills of Scotland, and then those old stone fences. So they were creating like a signature scotch, and they wanted the bottle to like be part of the distillery. So the person that made the custom bottle went and made a mold out of the actual stone. And then he put the shape of the stone in the heated glass around the bottom. So you had like a bottle that actually had actual stone imprints from the fence around the distillery. So the higher end spirit, the more that they do some fun things with bottles. So you certainly get the use of the bottles. Two, and the reason that I remember this is because at the time of writing the book, we were doing all sorts of research on rums, and we really became enamored with this one at the time. It's from Guatemala. It's aged. It's like the highest elevation above sea level distilled rum on the planet. It's 2,300 meters above sea level. So it's made up on a mountain with organic sugar cane. And then it's stored in a cask that is either a bourbon cask or a sherry cask. So you get notes of bourbon, notes of sherry that come into it. And really what we found when we were writing the book and we were playing with the Zacapa is how much the spirit has an impact on the final extract. And depending on what you're using the extract for, I don't know that I would put this extract in my chocolate chip cookies, but
Yeah.
But if you're making like a flan, or if you're making my accent, right? A flan, that's how they say it in Spain. I lived in Spain for a couple of years, so I always flan, not flan. But if you're making something that is like vanilla forward or creamy, then this is an extract that would really showcase the spirit. And so spirits matter. You don't have to go top shelf. This is a $49 bottle when we went and picked it up. We were actually worried because so many spirits come in and out of production. And we were worried that we wouldn't even be able to get this again because it's been, I think, 3 years since we finished writing the book. And so, but fortunately still available today, 23 years. It's really a fun spirit to use with a fun heritage, some amazing tastes and flavor profiles in there. The lesson is spend as much time doing a little research on the spirit as you spend researching the beans. That's the point. How's that? Did I do that concisely enough? She did not tap my foot once under the table here. So that's saying a lot to me, because normally when I get on one of my rants, I get like 2 or 3 taps, and I was like tapless.
Tappity tap tap.
I know. That must have been pretty good.
Secret things we do as wives
We
or,
do.
or husbands.
So the lesson here with this is research the spirit as much as you research the beans to find really unique pairings. And then when you realize the spirits have their part, the beans have their part, the amount of extract flavors you can get, it's just infinite. There's so many versions.
Sure. And if you're going straight across the board, extracting a ton of extracts, the cost is an issue. So,
Yes.
I have used bottom shelf white rums. I've used bottom shelf vodka. I have all of the bottom shelf bourbon I've used hasn't been great. That's the one spirit.
Whiskeys and bourbons, both.
I've just stayed away from bottom shelf bourbon. It just, for some reason, I just
we can't let it age long enough to get past like the really strong hot spicy taste of like
it just always tastes like bourbon.
Well, and not very good bourbon.
And not very good bourbon and not vanilla. So I do stay away from bottom shelf bourbon.
Yep. But sometimes top shelf has some fun things. So there we go. That's a nice little tangent on spirits. That's why it's in the book. That's why we think it's important. Hope this was helpful. This is a super fun rum from Guatemala with a really cool taste to it. You can use part of it for your extract. You can save the other part and just have a nice little sipping rum. Right? Summertime's coming. That's like rum season. So, there's lots of uses. Yeah. Here we go. So we picked our Papa beans because we thought they were a good blend.
Yeah. Well, the recipe says Indonesian planifolia. So, when
Sumatra would have been good.
Sumatra could be one. Well, when we wrote this book, we didn't have as many options as we do now. We have a lot more options than we did when we actually wrote the book, which was how long ago?
We were doing the math. We think it's been almost 3 years now since we had to do we submitted our final edit. So even though we're about 6 months from our 2-year anniversary publication date, we're about 3 years from the time we stopped writing, which is crazy when you think about it. A lot has happened in 3 years. Like beans. I think we were probably sourcing from 15, 20 countries. Now we're sourcing from 30. I think we had like 20, 25 beans. Now we have like 55 beans, a new one coming up, and then lots of bottles now too. So should we make it?
Yeah, let's do.
What are you looking for?
I don't have scissors.
Oh, you don't? Here we go. Fortunately, Jill married a stud who's wearing his brawny flannel shirt today, and I have been working out since the start of the new year. So I'm just going to tear this pouch open.
Tear on it.
With my strong arms and my brawny flannel shirt. There you go, my lady.
Okay, so this is 1 ounce. We've got some
1 ounce of pure muscle.
Indonesian Papa beans. We've got some nice little oil marks in the bag there. I'm just gonna, again, like we talk about all the time, we're just gonna cut down middle.
There we go. For the new folks watching, we cut because we slice it open. The alcohol gets more contact with the outside and the inside of the pod. The sweetness of the vanilla is in the pod. It's not in the caviar in the middle. There's a little bit, but not a lot. Most of it is in the pod. So for those of you that like cutting your beans, that's the reason why. If you don't cut them, you preserve all the caviar, and you can squeeze all the caviar out when you're done making the extract, and you can put it in like vanilla bean paste or in your vanilla bean ice cream or whatever else you want to use it for to get those fun little specks.
Well, and especially on this one that just has the vanilla, you have a little bit more room here that you can keep them whole. Like our next extract that we're doing, the almond coconut chocolate.
Ron Zacapa. It's not super rare. There should be, I'll say this, there were quite a few of them here, and we've never had a hard time finding it. And it's one of our favorites. So Ron Zacapa.
It's from Guatemala, did you say?
It's a Guatemalan rum made with Guatemalan sugarcane. And it is just lovely. It's smooth. It's sweet.
Smells so
And then since they age it in casks that were previously used for like bourbon, and then the Pedro Jimenez sherry casks out of Spain, you get a little sherry. you get a little bourbon, you get all of the sweetness of the Guatemalan sugarcane. I mean, it really is a fun rum experience with a lot of flavor for the extract. And with vanilla, it just marries up perfectly.
It does. And if you're adding this to your coffee or your tea, you're going to taste that in there.
You're going to taste it.
So, you know, if you like rum,
it's a little smoky, kind of like whiskey can be smoky sometimes because it sat in a cask for a long time. This is a 23-year rum, so it's aged, and it'll pick up a lot of the notes from the cask that, again, were previously used for the spirits we talked about. Here's another little trivia piece while she's filling that up. A lot of people, the oak that is used for cask making, inside of oak, vanillin, that beautiful compound that makes vanilla sweet, it grows naturally inside oak, which is why when you're studying lots of spirits, you'll see that lots of spirits use the term vanilla, where there's a vanilla taste to the spirit. It's because that vanillin occurs naturally in oak. And so anything that's been aged in an oak cask naturally is going to have some vanilla notes to it because it's extracting it from the oak, just as we're doing from the vanilla. Not as much, but it does occur naturally in oak, which is kind of a fun little trivia bit. Vanillin, it's all around us. That's why the world just smells of vanilla all the time. At least it does for us now. Could be because we live in it.
it does smell like vanilla.
It
here
kind of
all the
smells like,
time.
yes, it's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, our house.
Yeah.
They probably smell like chocolate all the time. We smell like vanilla all the time, but
Sometimes we don't even smell it. People will come over and they're like, oh, that smells so good. We're like, what? What's
Yes.
it?
and you got very creative by putting the Ronza Kappa cap in the Avera bottle.
That's how it fits, you guys.
Yeah, look at
So
that.
if you ever don't have your Avera lid, try your spirit lid.
Yes.
How cool is that? I can't find my lid.
You can't find the lid, so it means we'll have to drink the spirit right away.
Okay, so I've got my label on here, Indonesian Dark Rum Delight, and then on the bottom, I have my date that it started. This goes for an entire year. It could be longer because of the darkness of the rum. So just add a year, start taste testing and see what you think. But there's not a lot to do with this, until then. So that's an easy one.
That's a fun one. A simple double fold, nice rum, fun extract. And the smell of this, again, this is one of those where even with the rum, it's just a great extract. So spend some time on spirits. That's the point, right?
Yep.
Okay, fun. We will put that right there. And we will move on now to
Just
our
before, that rum sounds fabulous. Is it a number 23 or a 28 on the bottle?
It is the number 20,
Shannon says
23.
23.
Stemma number 23. Solera Gran Reserva. From virgin sugarcane and finished in oak barrels at high altitude, specifically at 2,300 meters. I should have Googled that to convert it to feet because I'm not sure what that is. It's a great many.
Yeah.
What would that be? Are we like, if anyone has Google, 2,300 meters, what is that, like 7,000-ish feet, which is quite a high elevation to be distilling rum when most of it's done at sea level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's quite a fun little rum.
That
And
is a
fun fact.
fun rum. It's a fun rum. Great
Thank
question.
you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think that's all for now.
Very good. Okay,
Thank
we'll
you.
keep rolling then. So the very next one that we're doing is our almond chocolate coconut extract from page 138 of The Art of Extract Making. This one is just a delight. This is a fun one.
Oh, it's kind of like an Almond Joy, right? The candy bar.
Yes.
Got all those in there, plus the vanilla. It's quite easy. There's no change outs. You put all the ingredients in, you let it sit for 4 months, and then you test it out. So, gosh, things are so simple today.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Simple.
Okay, so we're going to start with our Madagascar beans, which are 1 ounce.
Oh, do you need,
will-
hold on,
no.
Bronny.
Oh, sorry.
Look at that. She would not let me be the tough guy just for the full show. Come on, give me 1 hour.
Sorry.
It's okay. She's actually been working out too, so I expect that.
Hey, I'm just going to cut these into small pieces because there are so many ingredients in this jar that we need to make sure that everything is going to be covered. And lots of things like to float to the top. So we're putting the vanilla at the bottom. And since we're cutting it open, a lot of those seeds are going to come out. So you don't need to slice them necessarily if you want to save on time. Okay, I've already labeled my jars.
Are you still loving the label maker? We talked about the label maker. We don't have to get into the label maker, but we said in that live that we were going to talk about it and use it a lot and see what we thought. What do you think?
Well, I've got my masking tape on some, and I've got this new label maker on others. I'm loving the label maker. It's easy to take off and remove. If I get like something on it, it just comes off very easily. Sometimes with the masking tape, it will smudge. And that kind of bothered me a little bit, but masking tape is very affordable and I love that about it. So we'll see how much it costs when I'm actually, how many times I have to go through all of the rolls of, paper.
Yes, for sure.
So, love it. But I love it. It's easy. Okay, so we're just putting the vanilla beans in the bottom. And it calls for half a cup of the cacao. And we're using our Arusha cacao from Tanzania, which we were out for a while.
Yeah, I think previously, one or two workshops ago, we were talking about the drought that happened in Africa. It still is ongoing. The price of cacao has gone up. It's harder to get it. But what has happened now is that the African farmers are now catching up. And now all of the other farmers around the world that grew but weren't sourced as often from like the big chocolate manufacturers that buy all the cacao up, they all went to now all the other farmers. So now our Peruvian cacao is unavailable. We're hoping we get another batch in another 4 to 8 weeks. But we were able to get some Tanzanian cacao. And so it's kind of funny how, you just go through this cycle and it just reminds you how all of these ingredients, they're in the wild, organic. When the weather is good, we get the benefit of having them. When the weather is bad, we don't. When it's bad, it's always sad because there are a great many farmers that rely on the crop every year. And this drought in Africa, reminded us how many people are in the cocoa industry and just did not have a product to sell for an extended period of time. And so, our world kind of is it's always very delicate, and weather has such a big impact of how everything works. So it's nice to be able to support them a little bit and being able to buy their product when they get it. And so now we're back to Tanzanian cacao, which is lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a half a cup of the cacao, Arusha, and we've got a half a cup of shredded coconut, unsweetened. And then the last is 1/8 cup of the apricot kernels.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried to source apricot kernels.
We have.
We've gone to several different shows and spoken with a lot of different supply people, and we just can't get it.
Yeah, there are things that we just haven't been able to bring that one in yet. And these ingredients, they're hard to find and hard to come by. We're, as many of you know, we're out of cinnamon right now, both the Ceylon and the Saigon or the Cassia. And so, we're working with lots of different suppliers to get them in. And apricot kernel is another one that's just tricky. Remind me, were these bitter or sweet that we used for this?
Sweet.
These are sweet. There's always a lot of dialogue on, should I use sweet? Should I use bitter? We've tried both. There's a lot of personal preference in terms of which one's best. We've got sweet for this one and it works just great for us.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so I just kind of mixed them up together. I thought it was kind of pretty that way. And then also you have kind of an even mix when they're in the jar. And so I'm hoping that, maybe it stays down a little bit more. The coconut is notorious for floating to the top. And so this is one of those extracts that you just need to be checking in on ever so often. You can use a fermentation weight, but I have noticed even with those, the coconut likes to kind of, work its way up. And so it's just one of those that you have to kind of check on ever so often and then go in with a spoon or something and push everything down. Just like the last time we were together, we did that salted caramel vanilla extract, and we were supposed to check to see if I think I've got it right here.
Yep.
We were supposed to check to see if all of the caramel at the bottom was being dissolved. And if you leave it in the cupboard, there'll be pieces at the bottom, even after the 2 months that you have it sitting in there, they'll just be sitting at the bottom. And so I've been just kind of shaking it up ever so often, and it's completely dissolved. Everything looks perfect. But it took a little bit of attention, and so will this one also. When you put it all into the jar, it might not all be covered at first. You need to let it kind of absorb, and then by the weight, it kind of comes down.
Something we've done in the past, and this is even pictured in our book, which is why we have the picture up. You'll see we put all the coconut on the bottom and the other ingredients on top. And it's because the coconut tends to float a little bit that we've done that in the past. It still makes its way up. Some people do it because it looks pretty, and it's like they like the layers, a layer of coconut and then a layer of vanilla beans and then a layer of kernel, because you can see it all.
Yeah.
But what'll happen is these vanilla beans, they'll start extracting almost immediately, and they turn the coconut to kind of a dark brown color. And when you see the dark brown color, that's an okay thing too. People see that and they'll be like, what's not wrong with my coconut?
I love it.
Yeah.
You know
it's
it's working.
You know that it's working. We say your coconut is just fine.
Yeah.
And so on this, we used the French square bottle. It's a little harder to get it into with this particular pourer that we have.
Well, it would be easier with the mason jar, but I like these French squares because they fit nice into the cupboard that I use. It takes up a little bit less space than the mason jar do, but the mason jar is also nice because it's easier to put everything in it. You also can use the fermentation weights. So, and we all have about a bajillion of those, right? And so it's convenient to use the mason jars in use and in cost a lot of times.
You know what? I got these out too early, didn't I? This is for the grapefruit. I almost made a mistake there and put the vodka in the one we're using for the grapefruit, but I'll go ahead and get started over here. So vodka that we're using, we've used this one before. It's the Dented Brick Distillery. It's a local one. When you own a small business, you start seeing other small business owners through a different light, and you know how hard it is and how hard they're working. So we always love supporting, the local guys as much as we can. So this is a local vodka. Any vodka will do, that is a favorite to you. Again, we use vodka because it's tasteless, and so it gives you a lot of wiggle room. You don't have to go top shelf with vodka at all. A lot of people love Grey Goose because it's a smooth, great vodka. Some people say Grey Goose is the same as the French Costco brand, and maybe it is. Did I underfill a little?
A little bit.
Oh, did I? Look at that.
Just a tinge.
Oh, you're right. I did.
It's not so low there.
Yeah. And so, any decent vodka will do. And this Dented Brick's actually pretty good vodka.
It is. And they're just right here in Salt Lake. And so it's a fun little, support of our neighbors.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, what I like to do, I like to use the same little measuring cup because I've got all these tiny little pieces in there, and so I can get a few more using the same.
And the other thing that we've done here, as Jill mentioned, with this is a 16-ounce French square, right?
Yeah.
When you build the bottle or you fill the bottle to the almost exact size of the ingredients, we were talking about the problem of floating, and there's not really enough space for things to float to the top. So sometimes the benefit of a skinnier neck is just that. The skinny neck keeps everything pushed down a little bit more.
It does. When I use the mason jars, I feel like a lot of the coconut gets on top of the neck of it. And so I'm always just in there pushing it down, and there's just less surface area for it to go in these bottles. And so it just seems to be a little bit easier.
Oh, did we forget the lid? Oh, here it is.
I know I have it
Yep,
somewhere.
here it is.
You know how it is going into a new kitchen, right? Like you don't know where anything is, and that's how I feel. I feel very out of place. I don't know what I am, but I'm happy to be here.
Now, one thing that we'll watch with the coconut, and anytime we use cocoa nibs or cacao nibs, is they will can absorb the alcohol a little bit. This is one of these extracts with all the flavors that are in there. It's okay to top off. So the other benefit of using kind of a tight jar like this, where it filled right to the top, 8 ounces of vodka, all the ingredients, is if we see that come down, that vodka level come down a little bit, topping off is okay to do on something like this.
Yeah, and look how pretty that is.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
Vanilla on the bottom. And just go in and shake it ever so often and check on it to make sure that, it's all submerged. And I would check on it sooner than later. It sits for 4 months, so if you do need to top it off, it's better to do that sooner than later.
Yeah.
So, but that's
And
gorgeous.
we've had I think it's the cacao, but it's an interesting ingredient because there are times when it's like really thirsty and times when it's not. So we've had moments with cacao where we do top off, and then we've had moments with the same recipe with cacao where we don't top off. And so it's just kind of, it just depends on the cacao. Sometimes it's just a little more porous, I guess, than other times. So something to keep an eye on as we've made more and more of these that we've learned is sometimes they need it, sometimes they don't.
Yep.
Almond Joy. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. That just, isn't that appropriate?
It just come up with
That just came into my, it's like, me and my 80s commercials. Where do they come from?
too much TV when you
This,
were a kid.
you know what? Probably some truth to that. But it was a black and white TV. We couldn't change the channel without tick, 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 tick. So we just watched the same thing, whatever was on.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, the good old days.
Okay, well, that's gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, so that's it. We're done. We're gonna let that cook. We'll come back, check in 4 months.
Yeah.
Easy enough, right? All right. So let's move on. We have one change out to do.
I know this, I feel like it's such an easy day today.
Right. I
Right?
know.
Why am I forgetting so many
Well, it's
things?
because we have been working so hard and we've gotten through almost all of the book and we're on the tail end now. Like
Yep.
we have months, we have a whole calendar that goes out all the way through next year by month of updates. And there are several months in front of us with currently nothing listed.
It makes me uncomfortable.
I know. So we'll be filling that in though with some fun, like
New stuff.
we got some different stuff. We're excited. Okay. Grapefruit extract. This is one of my favorites. So let's back up. Grapefruit, page 114
114.
of the art of extract making. This is our first or second.
No.
No, this is our third.
This is the last
change out.
So
We started this in December.
we started it in December. Yep.
Come a long way.
It goes for 6 months. So we're taking out the grapefruit zest one last time. We're going to leave the vanilla beans in and we're going to go another 3 months. It's June. Yes. So from December till June, and it will be ready to taste test.
There we go. And so you'll recall this was the one in the very last live where we had left the
Smell that.
zest.
Wow.
I'm sorry, summertime. There's just for
I
if you're
put
not
this in gelato.
no, if you're not making citrus extracts, with or without vanilla in the wintertime when they're in season, you are missing out in the summer because these things are wonderful and you got to get started, November, December, January, February to be able to enjoy them. And oh my heavens, that's like that Italian gelato that we had that was great
In Cancun.
in Cancun.
Yes.
Yes. How about that? Our Italian gelato in Cancun. Anyway, that's just lovely stuff. So the goal here is we just want to get out, clean out, get rid of all the zest. We don't want to leave it in too long. So we got to clean off the vanilla beans a little bit. We'll wash it out with some water.
Anything, if it's in there a little bit longer, it's just not going to extract.
Right.
And so it's just a step to know that it's just the vanilla that is the last step. And I always do kind of a filter at the very end because there are some just little pieces of vanilla, sometimes fibrous pieces that can sometimes be in your vanilla. So a lot of times I will filter that out just to get some of the fiber out if there are pieces. And so then a lot of this zest can also be filtered out that part. So I'm not going to worry about every tiny little piece here. I'm just getting the most out.
Yeah. And I'm not going to crack any jokes about zest.
You already did last time.
I know. We're all zested out. So, I'm just going to keep that on the DL. So let's see here.
Okay. Oh, look at
All
that
right.
color.
Love it. That's awesome.
Beautiful color.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we've done the same form.
Yes. Let's extract cam that. Okay.
And zest is really small. I can see tiny little pieces in here. So when you do the zest, if those little pieces bother you, you will have to filter them out because they will go through if you're just using a
just one more time. That is just such a lovely extract. It's just, maybe it's because I've got a little spring fever right now, and I'm looking forward to all the spring cooking, and think that it's just wonderful.
We have spring fever here. I don't know if you can see behind us, but we are under several, I don't know, we get 7 inches of
We got like
snow.
7, 8 inches of snow last night. It was wild. We sent our little puppy dog out, to the yard, and she's like half buried.
We could just see her little head.
I know. Came back in, just a big snowball. Makes a mess.
Yep. Okay, so that's gonna go until June. And I've got my date on the bottom. So we're good to go. And see how these they just go right next to each other. That's why I really like, I just like how they fit inside my cupboard, especially when I have so many, I run out of room fairly quickly. That's why I'm down here now.
That's why we're down here in the extract kitchen. Anyway, so that's lots of fun. There we go. So we got a change out done. We talked about higher end spirits. We made 2 extracts, then updated the one. Beautiful, right? How fun was that? And we're ahead of schedule. How about that? I did it again.
We're missing our clock.
We're missing our clock. We don't even need a clock because this is my, my New Year's resolution is to not talk so much. How am I
No,
doing?
it isn't.
Okay, well, just to say thanks for being here. We do this all the time. We'd like to give away a $25 gift card to one of you. I'm just looking at the list. Eileen Oshiro is with us today. And so Eileen, send us an email at support@vanillapura.com and we'll send you a $25 gift card for hanging out with us today. Thank you so much. For everyone else, thanks.
I think you forgot. You gave them a little teaser of something you were going to share with them.
Oh my heavens. You know why? It's because I didn't make it wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah.
This was an audible that we called. So you guys, Mother's Day is around the corner, right?
Well, we wanted to get these fun bottles out for Mother's Day. But it's really hard to get things here on time sometimes. There's a lot of little things that have to happen.
It's tricky sometimes.
But I think this is
Yeah, they'll
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, they'll be available to they'll deliver on Mother's Day. But of course, we have our 850 milliliter Avera jar that everyone likes. This is sort of the fan favorite that it's got the mountain scene on the bottom when you put the extract in, as you can see on this one. It's just beautiful. The extract reflects off the mountains. And so it's just a fun design. So everyone loves the 250. And then, of course, we have the 500 milliliter for people that like making a double fold and need a little bit more space. This is kind of, 500 milliliters, that's like a mother jar, right? Like it's a nice size, okay? And then we have people saying, we're trying to make bigger mother jars. Can you help? And we are so excited to have our 1 liter Avera jar now available to be able to make some really fun decorative mother jars.
A new mother jar for Mother's Day.
Because mother jars can be pretty too, right?
Definitely.
Sometimes we get into all the function of the big mother jars, and sometimes you need them. I'm looking at all of our big gallon containers, but sometimes, you want a beautiful repository of all your used spent beans. So, as you're pulling beans out of extracts and need a place to put them, we're super excited that we've got our 1 liter mother jar now. That's going to be a lot of fun. So they're available right now through the group buy. We'll have them available retail as soon as they arrive. We get them all checked in, but they should all be able to deliver by Mother's Day. Right around the time we're going to be shipping the Mother's Day blend, which a lot of you have participated in. The Mother's Day blend is so much fun, and we'll talk about that more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I learned something, Nancy, she made a comment, I think it was last week. She cuts her little tips off so they come out of the bottle very easily.
Yes, and then they make their tip jar.
Hello, duh. Yeah, that does. It makes it a lot easier. So, and in these bottles that have this skinnier necks, it can be, a little hard when those little curly pieces get stuck and we have to use our huge
kitchen tweezers,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they do. And then they take the tips and they make their tip jars.
Mm-hmm.
So they cut them all off and then they've got a whole jar of tips and then they put those in another jar and kind of fill that up and it becomes like a mother jar of just tips and all the different varieties and all the different flavors. And the amount of flavors we can create is endless.
I just love though that you guys share all of this on our group. It's helpful for everyone.
It is.
You know, and sometimes we just don't think of things, and then it's like, oh, aha moments of,
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Well, and you can see how much our group has learned in the last 4.5 years. I mean, things that were being posted very early on, they're changing now because we've all now tried different iterations of things, and we found better versions of everything that we were doing 4.5 years ago.
Yes.
It just keeps getting better and better and better.
It
And
does.
we love that. And so we keep trying to gather as much of the good stuff and sharing it with you. And we'll continue to do that in these workshops and lives that we'll do in our Facebook group as well this year. So we got lots of fun stuff. Lots of fun stuff happening. So the next, again, workshop will be end of April. We'll put an event out, but you can mark your calendars. It's the Wednesday after Easter. I think it's like the 23rd of April will be our next workshop, which will be our second to last, where we start recipes for our book. So we're getting to kind of a milestone moment. And then we have our new Bloom Party that's coming up on May 14th. The event is inside of our group right now. Hopefully you can all join us. That'll be in our Facebook group, the Making Vanilla Extracts by VanillaPura. And that's going to be fun. We're going to have welcome drinks.
And I'll get that recipe out to you if you want to join us. We'll have a mocktail and a cocktail. So if you don't drink alcohol, there'll be something for you to make.
Yep. We're going to celebrate spring.
And think of the recipe that you want to share from your mom or whoever is special in your life that cook for you. That's what we're sharing at this party. We're sharing all kinds of beloved recipes.
Yep. So that's going to be a fun time. As always, the By Jill collection's a good time. And a lot of other fun things that are going to be coming out in the next little while. So there we go. So thanks everyone for joining us. We'll sit around when we stop the recording and talk to a few of you that want to hang out and chit chat. We love chatting with everyone. And thanks so much for joining us again. We appreciate it. We hope you're all doing well. Happy extracting. Have a wonderful evening. And the next time we see you, hopefully there's flowers and sunshine out the window and not snow.
Yes.
Right? Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.